What is up, weather enthusiasts? I'm your host, Pat's Path Predictor. Let's get right into the weather. Alright, so this is the situation we have right here. This is Invest 94L that is currently out in the Atlantic Ocean. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. This is our one of our tropical wave invests that have developed off the coast of Africa. Here it is right now. 60% chance of development in the next 5 days, 20% in the next 48 hours. So this is an interest we need to pay attention to because this has the potential to impact land down the road. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. A tropical wave located over the eastern tropical Atlantic is producing a large area of disorganized showers and thunderstorms. Environmental conditions appear conducive for development of the system over the next few days, and a tropical depression could form during the middle part of next week as it moves westward rather at 15 to 20 miles per hour over the tropical Atlantic as it approaches the Windward Islands. Once again, 20% chance of development now, 60% chance in the next 5 days. And look at how large this area is. This encompasses parts of the Windward Islands as well. So if you're in the Windward Islands, you need to be paying close attention to this, and I'll be updating you guys as the situation develops. Now, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the current storm information that we have right now. Its location is 7.7 degrees north, 31.5 west. The maximum sustained winds right now are 20 knots or 25 miles per hour. The minimum central pressure is 1,012, and the maximum radius of maximum winds is 100 nautical miles. And if we go ahead and take a look at the satellite, it continues to kind of bubble up and then calm down. It kind of cycling over and over. It's going to take a few days for it to develop, and it has that time to develop because if you take a look at the wind shear, all the way up until it gets to the Windward Islands, it has pretty much no wind shear. However, it's going to experience some trouble once it hits that area because we're seeing potentially 50 knots of wind shear there, unless that wind shear starts to drift and move somewhere where this system is going to develop. Now, we need to pay close attention to this because there are models that indicate this could be a strong hurricane, but we need to take these models with a grain of salt. But before we get to those, I want to talk about the global sea temperatures because it has plenty of warm water to develop in. It has waters of under right now about 29 degrees Celsius, which is about 84 degrees Fahrenheit. It's going to move into 83, potentially 82 degrees Fahrenheit of water. That's more than enough for it to fuel into a hurricane. And it's going to basically be doing that through the whole Caribbean. The Caribbean Sea's water, it's about 28 degrees Celsius, but it's also rather deep as well. So this thing will have more than enough fuel for it to develop and intensify as time goes on. So now we're going to go ahead and get to the good stuff. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the track models, which have this thing moving somewhere between the southern Windward Islands and Trinidad and Tobago. If you're in those areas, you need to pay attention for the next few days, and I'll continue to update as the situation develops. The intensity models right here, we need to pay attention to as well, because if at the looks of it, this thing's already a depression. And a lot of these models are indicating a major hurricane possible. Now, we need to take these with a grain of salt because this is like 5 to 7 days out. And this thing's still a depression, so anything can change at this point. And so basically we have 4 of these models developing into a hurricane. Some of them keep it as a depression tropical storm, keep it kind of depressed at that strength, but as time goes on, it'll eventually develop into a storm. So this is something we need to pay attention to. I want to take a look at the GFS because this is also a very interesting run. And if we take a look at it, the system basically approaches from into the Windward Islands. It starts organizing. It then starts intensifying in the Caribbean Sea, and then it rapidly intensifies into a 960 hurricane. Now, we're actually going to go ahead and take a look at this particular hurricane model, just to show you what kind of strength we're looking at with this. And then it kind of undergoes some sort of eyewall replacement cycle, makes landfall in the Yucatan Peninsula, pretty much weakens it down to a strong tropical storm. Then it re-intensifies to a hurricane, makes landfall in Mexico again. Now, before I jump the gun to say this is going to be a hurricane, there are several problems with this. The first problem being that wind shear, because if you look at the GFS, unless that wind shear weakens so much, it starts to pretty much, if you look at it, starts intensifying. Although I will say it starts intensifying as the wind shear gets weaker, but it's going to have a hard time in that 50 knot wind shear, and then it's going to continue to develop. If it has a chance of it becoming a hurricane. It's going to be in the Western Caribbean Sea because of how low the wind shear is and how warm the water is. So I want everyone to understand that. And we still have to once again understand that this is several days out. This is like July 3rd by the time this is happening. Now let's go ahead and go to the hurricane model. I want to go ahead and talk about the GFS right now. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. So this is where it is. This is where it is now. It continues to develop. And then as time goes on, it starts to really ramp down in its intensity as it basically approaches Honduras. This is the 12Z run, the latest run we have. And if we take a look at this is the temperature and moisture. I want to take a look at the 850 millibar height and winds. And we are looking at potentially a Category 2 or Category 3 hurricane at this point. We're looking at 850 max winds around 113 knots right there. So we could see a low-end Cat 3 hurricane by this point. And actually, the GFS on this model actually goes down even lower. We're down to 959 at this point. 959. No, 957 actually, excuse me. And we're looking at max winds of 127 knots and basically that's what we're looking at right here. That's enough to be a high-end Category 3 hurricane right there. But then again, there is severe doubt with this. This is July 3rd. And I want everyone to understand this, and we have this wind shear that's there. So unless this wind shear weakens and moves somewhere else in the next few days, this scenario is unlikely, but it's not impossible, because other models are duplicating this as well. So we'll have to pay attention to this, and I'll continue to update you guys as the situation develops. But that's going to wrap up this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. It helps me out, helps me make more videos like these. The goal of this channel is to get more people engaged with weather, which is what I am hoping I'm doing with this content. With that being said, guys, have a wonderful day. Be sure to hit that red subscribe button. It helps a lot, and stay safe.